What's going on, guys? DUBB. So this is the motor for my home AC condenser fan. It was overheated because I was desperate and I didn't have the right capacitor, and it was hot and I used a higher rating capacitor. This caused the condenser fan motor to overheat. So now I'm taking it apart and doing inspection on it and see how badly the damage is. This thing heat up to 250 degrees, so it was quite hot. The normal operating temperature on this motor is about 150. I did a little research. Wrong voltage or no lubrication on the shaft can cause the motor to overheat. So this motor requires a 5 microfarad capacitor to run it. I used a 10 because I didn't have a 5 at that time. So definitely I know that caused the overheating. So now I'm going to pop it open and see what kind of damage have I done to it. So after removing the 4 bolts, I went ahead and grabbed a screwdriver and just kind of chisel it away to pop the to separate it. You might need to sand down the shaft because you got rust in there. It will not slide out easily. So go ahead and sand it down and make it nice and smooth so it will slide right out. Sometimes the rust build up so much you gotta use a file to smooth it out. Alright, let's go and separate it and go and do a quick inspection, see any damages. If it's still stuck, go ahead and continue sand it down a little more on the shaft. Okay, the front cover is off. Let's go ahead and remove the rotor. As you can see, there's not a lot of moving parts in this motor. You got, 2 caps on each end. Then you got the rotor and the main housing unit and contained inside the stator. This kind of motor does not use ball bearings or have brush in them. And how this motor works is using electromagnetic to spin the rotor. All the wire looks pretty good. Got a little hot on one side. You can tell the yellow tape is kind of seems like it's got not really burnt, but you got exposed to a lot of heat right there. But seems like everything's intact. The rotor looks pretty good. I need you to address the end caps. The end caps has it's not a bearing. It has some kind of contact in there where the rotor shaft sits on. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the end cap. You have this center cylinder-like sleeves that the shaft goes through, and around it you have some kind of felt-like material that is soaked in oil, act as a lubricant. So when the rotor spins, the felt actually lubricate the shaft. I don't know when this AC was installed, but I know this motor has been running for 10 years or more. And in time, this felt material will dry up. So lubricated will help to prolong the life of this motor. If you don't lubricate it, you're gonna start heating up the shaft. Also cause excessive wear and tear on the rotor shaft, and this will destroy the motor. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna pack everything back in there and add more oil to it. So far the shaft on the rotor is still pretty smooth. If these things are chewed up, then you will need to get a new motor. The only store I could find this motor lubrication oil is at Lowe's, and it costs around $4. Let's go ahead and saturate the felts with oil, and don't forget to lift up the felts to get more oil on the other side. Once you fill up with oil, go ahead and put all the felts back in there and pack it in, and do on both ends. Remember, you gotta take off the metal cap to get to the felts. You can't just oil it because you can see the material is kind of flung outwards, so it's no longer make contact with the center piece right there. So you gotta open it up, and now you can add oil then pack it back together. Alright, the oil is complete. Let's go ahead and reinstall everything back together. It's 110 degrees outside. It got so hot my phone stopped recording, so all I could do is take pictures of how I put everything back together. So my blower also uses same kind of motor. So when I get a chance, I will take that part out and lubricate it. I noticed like other equipment might be using the same kind of motor. Instead of having bearings, use some kind of felt material to lubricate the shaft. Like for example, they use this kind of motor in swamp coolers. So when you get a chance, oil this motor, otherwise they'll break down on you. So I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, give me a thumbs up, and thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.